Thank you. From one St. Andrew's grandparent to the many others present, I join in welcoming you to a wonderful day of family celebration. And what magnificent talent, what magnificent performances. This is really special. Congratulations to the performers, to the producers of the media show, and certainly congratulations to you, the proud grandparents. We have had 3 of our grandchildren graduate from this school, and each has gone on and completed college. Now they're out in that big bad world showing early signs of success. St. Andrew's and its education is a major reason for their success, in my opinion. So it's clear that I've become a cheerleader for the school, thankfully without miniskirt or pom-pom. Today, the thoughts I share, I'm afraid, are like preaching to the choir. Your presence is evidence that you have developed a grandparent-grandchild connection. Nevertheless, I would like to offer 2 brief examples of the value of this family tie and hope they will serve as clarification and a strengthening of your connection, your bond. First, for many years, I was a professor of history at a small liberal arts school in Reading, Pennsylvania. Some time ago, as a joke, I told a group of elementary students I was there for 100 years. Without laughing, they shook their heads, seeming to say, yes, he seems about that old. I don't use that line anymore. Actually, I was there for almost 50 years, teaching American history. One course I taught annually was titled Recent American History. Each year, an assignment I required was a student interview of their grandparents. I asked students to discover their grandparents' reaction and involvement in major events that we studied: Depression, World War II, Vietnam, presidential administrations, heroic figures, etc. I also wanted students to see how their grandparents' everyday activities may have differed from their own everyday life. If I had $5 for every time a student told me in the written report or in private conversation that this was the favorite assignment of their college days, I could take you all to lunch. Of course, it would have to be the dollar menu at McDonald's. Quote, my grandparents dated and danced and went to the movies. They played sports, they worked hard. It's hard to believe that they didn't have TV and they didn't have cell phones. Wow. Quote, it was so wonderful to have a real heart-to-heart talk and learn more about my grandparents and about our family history. Yes, grandparents and grandchildren have a very significant connection. Each is certainly important to the lives of the other. Example number 2, on a more personal level, when our oldest grandchild was about 2, I began to tell him bedtime stories, mostly nursery rhymes. Later, as other grandchildren came along and joined our bedtime routine, and as they grew older, I turned to more adventure-type tales, Treasure Island, Tom Sawyer, comic book heroes, etc. Also, since we lived 2 hours away, I started to put stories on tape, and they would use tape recorders to hear my words even when I wasn't present. Then I discovered the stories they appreciated most were the ones of my childhood. So the Lone Ranger and Batman were banished, and they were replaced by the rather pedestrian life of Dale Yoder. At times I would include anecdotes about family members that they never knew. Other times, specific sports activities of their poppy. That's me. They believed them when they were younger, questioned them when they became older. From my memories, they learned about small town life in rural Pennsylvania. They heard who my friends were. They discovered that not only didn't we have a cell phone, we didn't even have a house phone until I was 10. Wow, and on and on and on. Later, I felt the written word might be a way of helping them with their reading and writing skills as they advanced through the schools. The 1 or 2 page written stories got longer. Eventually, they became 100-page books. 6 are completed. 2 of them were published this past December. The rest to follow over the next 4 or 5 months. When I presented the first 2 books to all 7 of our grandchildren as part of this past holiday season, all were pleased and proud, and I think pleasantly surprised. And Evan, our oldest, the grandchild for whom all of this began, was particularly touched. "This is the best present I have ever received," he said. Well, quid pro quo. His comment was the best present I ever received. Yes, there is a grandparent-grandchild bond. Grandparents are important, and so are grandchildren. Keep developing that connection.